Second Division of Ohio Sire Stakes for 2-year-old trotting fillies at 1 mile, purse at $20,200. Exact trifecta wagering. A field of 9, there are no changes. Number 1 is Karma Jean, owned by Harry, Nancy, and Todd Kurtner, Springboro, Ohio, trained and driven by Ralph Lunsford. With the 2 is Scarlett Levesque, owned by Bob Kaufman of New Albany, Ohio, and Danny Collins of Hilliard, Ohio, trained by Danny Collins with Brett Miller. Number 3 is Sweet M, owned by Oyer of Fort Myers, Florida, and Prime Birth Stables Incorporated of Utica, Ohio, trained by Terry Milhone, Chip Noble. The 4 is Ms. Mirandy, owned by a partnership of Melissa Ross and Roger Platt, both of the Buckeye State, trained by Jerry Ross Jr., Dan Ross. Number 5 is DC's Main Tease, owned by Michael and Melissa Kirby of Richwood, Ohio, trained by Richard Kirby, Bob Harper. With the 6 is Autumn Levesque, owned by Greg Bucky of Dublin, Ohio, and Tom York Jr. of the big city of Newark, Ohio, trained by Jim Artledge Jr., Dallas Miller. The 7, Mrs. Sizzle, owned by John Zimmerman of Defiance, Ohio, and Thomas Weber of Stryker, Ohio, trained by Bill Webb, the Grizz, Greg Grismore. Number 8 is KF Trump, owned by Henry, you can call me Hank Kaufman of Baltimore, Ohio, and Dave Myers of Logan, Ohio, trained by Dave Myers. Dave Myers is up. And for the outside of the 9 is Audit, owned by James Sauter of Lexington, Kentucky, trained by Janet Irvine, Sandy Beatty, Ian Herselke. There they go. Field in motion. Break the 2, Scarlett Levesque before the start. They're all fan trotting and firing out of there for the lead. There goes the 4, Ms. Mirandy. Driving up on the outside, Mrs. Sizzle is looking to duck and tuck in 2. Away in 3rd, that is Sweet M. Into the pylons in 4th, DC's Main Tease. Angled in 5th, Autumn Levesque. 6th there along the inside of that is KF Trump. Followed in 7th from the rail horse, Karma Jean. Up on the inside and now racing in 8th, that is Audit in 9th and trailing the field after the early miscue, Scarlett Levesque. They race by the opening quarter. The opening quarter came and went in 28 and 2/5. On by the stands for the first time and heading on down to the half, and Ms. Mirandy finds herself out top here, leading it by 3 lengths to the inside. Mrs. Sizzle is trying to close that gap. Racing in 2 as Ross is throttling the speed of Ms. Mirandy. Inside in 3rd, that is Sweet M. 4th to the pylons, DC's Main Tease being up on the outside of there. Racing in 5, flushing that cover now. 2nd over that is DC's Main Tease, or rather there, Autumn Levesque. 3rd over the outside, racing in 6. That is KF Trump. Along the pylons in 7th, Karma Jean. 8th to the outside of there, and 4th over. That is Audit in 9th and trailing the field, Scarlett Levesque. They're halfway home in 1 minute and 1/5. Off the turn and driving down the backside. Freshman trotting fillies, our heads are pointed towards 3/4 and up top here. Ms. Mirandy still out there on the lead, loose by a length and a half, 2. Into the inside, Mrs. Sizzle is trotting in 2nd. Outside of there, first up in 3rd, DC's Main Tease. To the inside, racing in 4th, Sweet M being circled up 3 wide of the outside. Autumn Levesque begins to close in, and following that move, KF Trump, 3/4 and 1:30 and 2/5. They'll trot the final turn and head for home, and up top, Ms. Mirandy is trying to make every pull a winning one, leading it by a length and a half. Into the inside, Mrs. Sizzle is racing in 2nd. On the outside in 3rd, DC's Main Tease, and from way back, KF Trump to the top of the stretch. Less than an 1/8 of a mile to go, and down the stretch they come. Ms. Mirandy with a lead here. A move to the inside. It's the 7, Mrs. Sizzle, way out wide. Audit is closing with every stride at the wire. Ms. Mirandy, gate to wire. Very close there for 2nd, may have been the 9, Audit. Over the 7, Mrs. Sizzle. Finishing 4th was the 8, KF Trump. The time of the mile, 2:01 and 1/5. Ms. Mirandy. Trackside of the winner's circle. The official winner now of the 8th race, 2nd Division of Ohio Sire Stakes, 2-year-old trotting fillies, timed in 2:01 and 1/5 for the 2nd win of her career. Here's the 4, Ms. Mirandy, a 2-year-old bay filly by Crown's Trump, out of an Arnie's Exchange mare, Ruby Sox, owned by Melissa Ross and Roger Platt, both of the Buckeye State, trained by Jerry Ross Jr., nicely handled here this evening by winning driver Dan Ross. The 4, Ms. Mirandy, goes gate to wire here, 2:01 and 1/5, returning $7.80, 560, 420. 2nd, the 9, Audit, returning $22.40, 780. 3rd of the 7, Mrs. Sizzle, 420. 4-9 exact is worth $272.20. 497 try, $1,381.40. Here's the rundown for the 8th race. The 1 Karma Jean 6, the 2 Scarlet Levesque 9, the 3 Sweet M 5, the 4 Ms. Mirandy, the race winner, timed in 2:01 and 1/5.